Have you ever watched a single leaf fall, tracing its slow, silent spiral to the ground? In that small moment, the entire story of existence is told. A story of arising and of passing away. This is the rhythm of the universe, and it is our rhythm too. We are taught to build, to hold, to achieve, but we are seldom taught how to let go. This is where our journey begins, into the heart of two great truths: impermanence and the nature of our own suffering. They are not enemies to be conquered, but teachers to be understood. There is a river flowing through everything, a silent, unstoppable current. You can feel it in your own breath, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Each inhalation a new beginning, each exhalation a small release. This river is called impermanence, anicca. It is not a philosophical concept. It is a physical reality. It is the warmth of the sun on your skin that fades as a cloud passes, the taste of coffee that vanishes from your tongue, the echo of laughter that dissolves into silence. Look at the world around you. Truly look. The mountains themselves are being worn down by wind and rain, grain by grain. The stars we see in the night sky, some of them are already gone. Their light just now reaching us across an ocean of time. Everything is in a state of flux. Nothing is static. Nothing is permanent. This truth is written into the very fabric of the cosmos, and it is written into us. Our bodies change, cell by cell, moment by moment. The person you were 10 years ago exists only in memory, a collection of thoughts and images, themselves impermanent. The person you are now is a temporary arrangement of energy and matter, a wave forming on the surface of the ocean, distinct for a moment, beautiful in its form, before inevitably returning to the whole. Our thoughts are even more fleeting. They arise like bubbles, pop, and disappear. Our emotions, storms that gather and then pass, joy, sorrow, anger, peace, none of them come to stay. They are visitors, guests in the house of our awareness. The Zen masters understood this deeply. They saw the breathtaking beauty in this constant flow. The cherry blossom is so profoundly beautiful, precisely because it lasts for only a few days. Its transient nature makes its brief appearance all the more precious, all the more poignant. If it bloomed forever, would we even notice it? Or would it just become part of the unchanging scenery? The sadness of a goodbye is what gives meaning to the hello. The final note of a song is what makes the melody complete. But our minds have been trained to resist this current. We build dams. We construct fortresses of belief and identity, trying to hold the river back. We want to freeze the perfect moment, to make the beautiful blossom last forever, to keep our loved ones exactly as they are. We crave certainty in a universe that is defined by its uncertainty. We seek permanence in a world where it does not exist. This struggle, this resistance against the fundamental nature of reality, is the first deep root of our discontent. We are trying to nail a shadow to the floor. The effort is exhausting and ultimately futile. The river will always flow. The leaf will always fall. The wave will always return to the sea. This is not a tragedy. It is simply the way things are. The first step toward peace is not to stop the river, but to learn how to build a raft. The second truth, dukkha, is often translated as suffering, but this word can be misleading. It is not just about pain, agony, or despair. It is a much more subtle and pervasive quality of experience. Imagine a finely crafted wooden wheel, perfect in every way, except for one axle hole that is slightly off-center. When it turns, there is a constant, subtle wobble, a persistent, low-grade vibration of dissatisfaction. That is dukkha. It is the inherent unsatisfactoriness of a life spent clinging to things that are constantly changing. There are different layers to this experience. The first is the obvious suffering, the pain of the body and the mind, sickness, injury, old age, death, the grief of losing someone you love, the sting of betrayal, the anxiety of failure. This is the raw, undeniable pain of life, the sharp edges that we all encounter. No one is immune to this. It is part of the human condition, a direct consequence of being alive in a fragile, impermanent body. The second layer is the suffering of change. This is the pain that arises when pleasant things come to an end. The perfect vacation is over, and the return to routine feels heavy. A joyful relationship ends, leaving an ache of absence. Youth fades, taking with it a sense of boundless possibility. This form of dukkha arises directly from our attachment to pleasure. We experience a moment of happiness, and immediately, the mind begins to grasp. It thinks, I want this to last forever. And in that very thought, the seed of future suffering is planted, because it will not last. It cannot last. The nature of pleasure is that it is fleeting. The moment we try to hold on to it, we create tension. We are no longer fully present in the joy of the moment, because we are already worrying about its inevitable end. We are mourning the sunset, even as its beautiful colors are still painting the sky. But the third layer of dukkha is the most profound and the most subtle. It is the background hum of dissatisfaction that pervades conditioned existence. It is the feeling that something is always just a little bit missing. The vague sense of unease when you have nothing to do. The restless search for the next distraction, the next purchase, the next experience that will finally make you feel complete. It is the suffering woven into the very structure of our reactive minds. This is the off-center wheel. It is the subtle friction of a life lived out of alignment with reality. We are constantly leaning forward into the future, hoping for a better moment, or leaning back into the past, replaying old glories or grievances. We are rarely, truly, standing upright in the present. This is the intertwining of the two truths. Impermanence is the nature of reality. Dukkha is the friction burn we get from rubbing against it. It is the suffering born from wanting the world to be solid, predictable, and permanent, when it is, in its very essence, fluid, unpredictable, and transient. We suffer not because things change, but because we expect them not to, and we cling to them as if they were solid. The diagnosis is not that life is inherently tragic, but that our relationship with life, our perception of it, is flawed. And this is a message of incredible hope, because if suffering is caused by our perception, our habits of mind, then it means we can do something about it. We can change our minds. We can learn to see the river, not as a threat, but as life itself. Let us examine the mechanism of our own minds, the engine that converts the raw material of impermanence into the finished product of suffering. The primary gear in this machine is attachment, or clinging. It begins with a simple sensation, a pleasant feeling, the warmth of a hug, the taste of a delicious meal, the sound of praise. Instantly, a process begins. The mind identifies the sensation as good, and then a desire arises. I want more of this. This is natural. It is a biological impulse for survival. But then, it deepens. The mind grasps the experience. It tries to own it. It says, this is mine. This happiness is me. We create a story around the feeling. This person makes me happy. This job makes me feel worthy. This possession makes my life complete. We are no longer just experiencing a pleasant moment. We are trying to incorporate it into our sense of self. We are building our identity on shifting sands. Think of a child at the beach, building a magnificent sandcastle. They pour all their energy and love into it, with towers and moats and shells for decoration. It is a source of immense joy and pride, but the tide is coming in. The first small wave licks at the outer wall, and a flicker of anxiety appears. The child furiously starts digging, trying to build the wall higher, trying to hold back the ocean. The joy of creation has been replaced by the fear of loss. The waves grow stronger. They wash away a tower, then another. The child's anxiety turns to desperation, then to anger, then to tears. The sandcastle is destroyed, and the child is heartbroken. The sandcastle was always going to be washed away. That is its nature. The suffering did not come from the wave. The suffering came from the child's belief that the sandcastle should be permanent. It came from the clinging, the attachment to the form. We do this every day. We build sandcastles of our relationships, our careers, our reputations, our youth, our health. We build them, we become attached to them, we identify with them, and when the inevitable tide of impermanence comes, we suffer, we fight, we bargain, we despair. We believe we are losing a part of ourselves because we have mistaken the temporary form for who we truly are. Clinging is like holding your breath. You can do it for a little while, and it might even feel powerful, controlled, but eventually, your body's need for oxygen, for flow, will overwhelm you. You are forced to exhale, to release. The struggle itself is what creates the tension and pain. Inner peace comes from learning to inhale fully and exhale completely. It comes from learning to build the most beautiful sandcastle you can, to enjoy the process of its creation, to love it without reservation, while knowing, in the back of your mind, that the tide is coming in, and when it does, to be able to smile and watch it go, knowing that the sand and the ocean are still there, ready for you to create something new tomorrow. This is not detachment in the sense of being cold or uncaring. It is the opposite. It is a radical form of love. A love that is free from the fear of loss. It is the ability to engage with the world completely, with an open heart, precisely because we are not trying to possess it. If attachment is the act of pulling what we like towards us, aversion is the act of violently pushing away what we do not like. It is the other side of the same coin, the shadow of clinging. Both are forms of resistance to what is. Aversion, dvesha, is the mind's powerful no. It is the immediate rejection of unpleasant experiences, a physical pain, a difficult emotion, a criticism from another person, a reality we don't want to face. The mind recoils. It creates a wall. It says, "This should not be happening." And in that moment of rejection, we create a second layer of suffering on top of the first. There is the initial pain, and then there is the suffering we create by resisting the pain. Imagine you are trying to hold a large beach ball underwater. The ball represents an unpleasant truth or a difficult feeling, like grief or fear. It naturally wants to rise to the surface, to be seen, to be acknowledged, but you push it down. You use all your strength to keep it submerged, hidden from view. This act of pushing down is exhausting. It consumes an enormous amount of mental and emotional energy. You cannot focus on anything else, because all your effort is going into this one act of resistance. Your whole body is tense. Your jaw is clenched. Your mind is in a state of constant battle. This is aversion, the original feeling. The beach ball itself might be uncomfortable, but the real suffering, the exhaustion, and the tension comes from the relentless effort of holding it down. This manifests in our lives in countless ways. Procrastination is aversion to the discomfort of a challenging task. Anger is often a violent aversion to a situation we feel powerless to change. Blame is aversion to taking responsibility for our own part in a problem. Addiction, in all its forms, is a powerful strategy of aversion, an attempt to numb ourselves to the discomfort of our own minds. We are constantly running, hiding, fighting, all in an attempt to avoid the inevitable discomforts of an impermanent existence. But what happens if you just let go? What if you stop fighting the beach ball? It will rise to the surface. It will bob there, in front of you. You can look at it, acknowledge it, feel its shape and texture. You might even realize it is not as monstrous as you imagined it to be when it was hidden in the murky depths. By allowing the unpleasant experience to simply be there, without resistance, we rob it of its power over us. The Zen practice of shikantaza, or just sitting, is a profound training in this. You sit, and you allow whatever arises in your mind and body to arise, without judgment, without grasping, and without pushing away. A painful memory comes up. You just let it be there. An anxious thought about the future appears. You watch it, like a cloud passing in the sky. An itch on your nose. a pain in your knee. You observe the sensation without reacting. This is not passive resignation. It is an act of immense courage and strength. It is the strength to be present with reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. By ceasing our war with the present moment, we find a deep and abiding peace. The energy we once spent on holding the beach ball down is now free. It can be used for compassion, for wisdom, for creativity. The world doesn't stop being impermanent. Pain and difficulty do not disappear, but our relationship to them is utterly transformed. We are no longer victims of our experience. We are calm, clear-eyed observers of the ever-changing flow. So we have the diagnosis, and we have analyzed the mechanism. Now, the work turns inward. This is not about memorizing concepts. It is about becoming an archaeologist of your own heart. Take a quiet moment and look at your life. Where are your attachments? Not just the big ones, but the small, subtle ones. Perhaps it is the way you need your morning coffee to be just right, and the irritation that arises when it is not. That is a small clinging to a pleasant sensation. Perhaps it is your attachment to being seen as competent, intelligent, or kind, and the subtle sting of defensiveness you feel when someone questions your ability. That is clinging to an identity, a self-image. Look at your relationships. Do you love the people in your life as they are, right now? Or do you love a version of them you hold in your mind, a version you want them to be, or wish they would stay? When they change, as they inevitably will, do you flow with that change, or do you resist, trying to pull them back to the person they once were? This is not a process of judgment. There is no blame here. It is a process of gentle, honest seeing. See these patterns with the curiosity of a scientist observing a natural phenomenon. Ah, there it is. There is the grasping mind. There is the feeling of tightness in my chest. That is the fear of loss. And what about aversion? How does it manifest in your day? Is it the way you endlessly scroll through your phone to avoid the discomfort of boredom or the feeling of loneliness? Is it the way you replay an argument in your head, trying to win it this time? A resistance to the reality of what was said and done? Is it the way you avoid difficult conversations, postpone challenging tasks, or ignore troubling news about your health or the world? Each of these is a small no to reality. Each one is an attempt to hold the beach ball underwater. Feel the energy that this requires. Notice the tension it creates in your body, in your mind. This reflection is like holding up a mirror. At first, you may not like what you see. You might see the fear, the insecurity, the habits of a lifetime. But the instruction is simple. Just keep looking. Don't turn away. And don't criticize the reflection. Simply watch. Because in the clear light of awareness, without the fuel of judgment, these patterns begin to lose their power. They are like plants kept in a dark room. Once you open the curtains and let the sunlight in, they begin to wither on their own. You don't have to rip them out by the roots. You just have to expose them to the light of your own attention. This is the beginning of wisdom, the brave and quiet act of looking at yourself and the world exactly as you are. This critical reflection leads us to a deeper, more fundamental question. If my happiness is impermanent, if my thoughts and emotions are always changing, if my body is in constant flux, if my roles, my job, my relationships are all temporary, then who or what am I? We invest so much of ourselves into these external, fleeting things. We build an entire identity, a sense of me, out of these components. I am a father. I am a doctor. I am successful. I am a failure. I am anxious. I am a spiritual person. Each of these is a label, a story we tell ourselves, and we cling to these stories with ferocious intensity because we believe they are who we are. But impermanence reveals them to be costumes, not the actor underneath. When you lose your job, the successful professional identity is shattered. Does that mean you have been shattered? When your children grow up and leave home, the nurturing parent identity changes profoundly. Does that mean you have ceased to exist? This can be a terrifying realization. It can feel like the ground is dissolving beneath your feet. If I am not my thoughts, not my body, not my roles, not my story, then I am nothing. But in Zen, this nothing is not a void. It is not an emptiness of despair. It is sunyata, a dynamic, vibrant, spacious emptiness, full of potential. It is the release from the prison of a small, fixed self. Imagine you thought you were a single, isolated wave on the ocean. Your entire life would be filled with anxiety. Am I big enough? Am I moving in the right direction? Oh no, I am about to crash into the shore. The death of the wave would seem like a final, terrible end. But what if, through deep reflection, you realize that you are not the wave, you are the entire ocean. The wave is just a temporary expression of your true nature. The arising of the wave is not a birth, and its crashing on the shore is not a death. It is just the ocean, being itself. Can you feel the immense freedom in that shift of perspective? All the fear of the small wave's fate dissolves. You are still experiencing the rising and the falling, the movement and the spray, but you are no longer identified with it. You are the vast, deep, unshakable presence that holds the entire dance. This is the inner strength that Buddhism points to. It is not the strength of a bigger, better wave. It is the strength that comes from realizing you are the ocean. So, the practice becomes one of noticing your identifications. When a strong emotion arises, like anger, notice the tendency of the mind to say, I am angry. Can you gently shift that to, there is anger being felt in this body, in this mind. This small change in language creates a space. It allows you to observe the anger as a temporary weather pattern. Instead of being completely consumed by the storm, you are the sky, not the clouds. This is the path to unshakable inner peace, not a peace that depends on life being smooth and pleasant, but a peace that is discovered in the very heart of life's constant, beautiful, and terrifying change. So how do we walk this path? How do we translate this understanding into a lived reality? The bridge between the philosophical and the practical is built with one tool: mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of waking up to the present moment. It is the simple, but not easy, practice of paying attention to what is happening right now, without judgment. It is the training that allows you to see the river of impermanence, not just as an idea, but as a direct, moment-to-moment experience. You can start right now. Feel the points of contact between your body and the chair or the floor. Just feel the sensations of pressure, of warmth, of texture. You are not thinking about the sensations. You are feeling them directly. Now, bring your attention to your breath. Feel the air entering your nostrils, cool and fresh. Feel your chest and abdomen gently expand. Feel the pause at the top of the inhalation, and then feel the release, the letting go, as you exhale. You don't have to change your breath or control it. Just observe it, like a silent witness. Your mind will wander. That is what minds do. It will jump to a memory from the past, or a plan for the future. When you notice it has wandered, that is a moment of victory. That is a moment of mindfulness. Gently, without any criticism, you simply guide your attention back to the breath, again, and again, and again. This is the practice. It is the mental equivalent of lifting a weight in the gym. Each time you bring your attention back, you are strengthening the muscle of awareness. You are weakening the habit of being lost in thought. But this is not just a formal, eyes-closed meditation. The real practice is to bring this quality of attention into your everyday life. When you are washing the dishes, feel the warmth of the water on your hands. Hear the sound of the plates clinking together. Smell the scent of the soap. Be fully there. With the act of washing dishes, when you are drinking a cup of tea, don't just gulp it down while checking your email. Take a moment. See the color of the tea, the steam rising from the cup. Smell its aroma. Feel its warmth as you drink it. Taste its flavor fully. In these small, ordinary moments, you are training yourself to be present. You are anchoring yourself in the reality of now, the only place where life ever truly happens. Through this practice, you begin to see the nature of your mind with incredible clarity. You see thoughts arise, linger for a moment, and dissolve. You realize they are not solid, and they are not you. You see emotions sweep through you, like weather systems, and then pass. You learn to give them space, to feel them without being hijacked by them. You are no longer a leaf tossed about in the wind of your own mind. You are the tree, rooted, stable, feeling the wind blow through your branches, but not being uprooted by it. This is how inner strength is cultivated, not by fighting our experience, but by learning to be fully present for it. With calm, steady awareness. As this awareness deepens, something remarkable begins to happen. It blossoms into wisdom, and from wisdom into compassion. When you have watched your own mind, when you have seen your own patterns of clinging and aversion, your own fear, your own confusion, you can no longer look at another human being with the same harsh judgment. You see another person acting out in anger, and instead of just reacting to the anger, you see the suffering behind it. You recognize the same resistance, the same aversion you have felt in yourself. You understand that they too are fighting the tide, trying to protect their own fragile sandcastle. This insight does not mean you condone harmful actions, but it dissolves the hatred, the personal animosity. It opens the door to a wiser, more compassionate response. You see someone consumed by greed or ambition, and you recognize the pattern of clinging. You see the deep-seated belief that if only I get this one more thing, then I will be happy. You know, from your own experience, the futility of that search, and your heart softens. This is the birth of karuna, true compassion. It is not pity. It is a feeling of shared humanity, a profound recognition of our common struggle and our common potential. You realize that we are all in this together, all navigating the same currents of impermanence, all seeking peace and happiness, often in ways that just create more suffering for ourselves and others. This dissolves the illusion of a separate self in an even more profound way. The walls between me and you become more transparent. Your own happiness becomes intertwined with the happiness of others. Your own peace contributes to the peace of the world. This is the ultimate synthesis. The two truths, impermanence and suffering, are not a pessimistic condemnation of life. They are a doorway. By facing them with courage, honesty, and mindfulness, we transform their energy. The reality of impermanence teaches us to cherish every moment, to love fully, and to let go gracefully. The understanding of suffering teaches us compassion. It connects us to every other living being. We find a strength that is not brittle, but flexible, like bamboo that bends in the wind. We find a wisdom that is not a collection of concepts, but a clear seeing of reality. And we find an inner peace that is not dependent on external conditions, a peace that can hold the whole world, with all its beauty and all its pain, in the boundless space of an open, loving heart. This is not a destination you arrive at one day. It is a path you walk, one breath, one moment at a time. The leaf does not resist its fall. It lets go, and in doing so, it dances with the wind, painting the sky with its final, fleeting beauty. It is not an end, but a transformation, a return to the earth, which will nourish new life. Can we learn to live like that? To embrace the whole of our journey, the budding, the blooming, and the letting go. This is not a path of escape. It is the path of learning to dance, right here, in the heart of it all.